All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back. Happy Thursday to you. Hope everybody's having a great trading session. So we're seeing a little bounce in the equity markets. S&P is bouncing a little bit. German DAX is bouncing a little bit. Nikkei is a little heavy. Overall, just kind of choppy price action this morning with the futures. Gold's showing a little bit of weakness right now, and as the dollar firms up a bit, and crude oil is starting to show a little bit of signs of weakness as well. Crude was up about 0.25%. Now it's down a little bit. Probably going to be pretty choppy until we get the weekly unemployment claims. But let's take a look at, well, shoot. First of all, I need the bias chart, and we're going to drill through these charts. So let's go over to the euro first and foremost, and see what we got going on with the euro dollar. And okay, so with the euro, we've had a really nice, obviously a huge bounce this week. This one blindsided me. I did not expect this big of a bounce, and it's not like we've seen anything really. And I'll redraw everything. So I kind of want to start with a blank slate. So one of the things regarding the euro dollar is we haven't seen a lot of. I haven't seen any particular news regarding Greece that suggests that a deal has been put together. Excuse me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I didn't see, there's nothing that's been really put together on Greece. And so, to me, it's like, wow, is this all the bun? And is this all about optimism on Greece and in the situation at hand? And I'm assuming it is, but also, right now we've made a really big move in the euro, and nothing has really been finalized with Greece. And I'm sure everybody's assuming something's going to get done, but right now, to the best of my knowledge, nothing has been for sure. So what we may be doing here is, getting ready to consolidate, and we could be forming some sort of resistance soon. We had surpassed a 786 retracement, if I'm not mistaken. So, and Paul probably rightfully pointed out where resistance is right now. So there's a 786. It's like a lot of congestion area. He was looking at an hourly chart, so you can see a lot of congestion right around these, these parts, but nothing to me that looks super solid. Like oh my God, we're here. I've got to be a seller of the euro. Like yesterday, I got stuck shorting the euro dollar because I was shorting against the 618 retracement. Okay, so I got stopped out overnight when we spiked back up, when we came right above this resistance. I got stopped out, but I was shorting it based on some fib levels, some resistance that overshot. And I'm like, well, it's just an overshoot, so I didn't mind being on the short side of it. But at the same time, I'm looking at it right now thinking, well, is this really a great area to be on the short side? And I don't really see that. I'm short some euro yen, and that's just because I had a limit from last night that got triggered, but I don't know if I necessarily want to short the euro dollar here. But if we're going to build some symmetry in this market, which maybe that's not symmetrical here, let's delete those for a second. Maybe if we're going to build some symmetry, perhaps we're getting close to close to some resistance here in the euro dollar. Perhaps, maybe it's like that. I don't know. And obviously, at this point in time, I'm going to have to see some sort of reversal pattern with the um, with the euro, whether it's on a hourly or 4 hour chart or daily chart or something, to suggest it's really time to start shorting the euro dollar. But the euro has rallied quite substantially. We're pretty overbought here on relative strength. We might even be divergent here on the hourlies. Yeah, we are. We've been divergent though ever since 112. So we've been rallying higher. Relative strength has been diverging, hasn't stopped the euro thus far. But I'm curious to find out if we're building some sort of symmetrical triangle. Obviously, we won't know until later today. I think what we have to do for today is we have to mark the highs, and we have to mark up the highs as being, a lot of times when, European traders, we got to change over between Europe and North American traders. A lot of profits are getting taken right now, obviously, because if you woke up 3-4 hours ago and you traded the euro dollar long from 112, let's just say 112.70, 112.80, maybe sub 113, you're probably already starting to take some profits here. That's what a lot of European traders do. But a lot of times that changeover, that the spike highs or the spike lows in European trade mark the highs or lows that we end up pivoting from for the day. Because, like for today, if the euro dollar stops here and we have some strong weekly unemployment claims once again, that could mark the top of the euro, because the euro might, drop down to 113, and then, then the high that we printed overnight will end up being the high for the day. So we'll see. It's way too early to suggest that. But what I am going to do is I am going to mark that high at 113.80 as resistance right now. Not major resistance, it's just resistance. Okay. Now support, the bulls are in control right now, and bulls are in control until you start posting a lower low, you start breaking through previous resistance levels, because right now they're acting as support. So right here at 1285, that's support. And as long as 112.85 is holding, the bulls are in control. I still think we're in a large range trading environment, though. Until proven otherwise, we're in a range environment. We looked like we were going to start breaking down last week, but really is we're still in this nasty range. So 112.85 is holding support. If we start breaking through these highs, and especially if we take out this 115, I mean the bullish trend in the euro is going to really take off. Because right now you have dollar bear or dollar bulls. Euro bears, dollar bulls, however you want to look at it. They're still holding on to. Wow, the cable's really showing some weakness here, by the way. Pound's been pulling back this morning. You have a lot of traders that are leaning on the euro, trying to buy the dollar, and they're not really going to give up until you break above 115. If the euro breaks above 115, you'll have a lot of dollar bulls throwing the towel. And myself, I'm going to try to capitalize on that too. I mean, if the euro breaks through 115, I would assume 118, 120 is next. Okay, but that's after having such a big move just over the last few days, that's going to be a pretty big obstacle to overcome here in the next in the coming sessions. All right. There's been a lot of great momentum coming into this into this resistance. We've got to figure out where we're going to stop, if we are going to stop here. Okay. Let's go take a look at the cable. All right. So the pound went, well, the pound's easy now, because we obviously hit some pretty critical resistance. The rejection from here has been pretty stellar. Okay. We might end up having a nice little shooting star here, but previous support, current resistance. Yesterday we had wrote down 154.30, and I guess 154.40 was the more appropriate number. There's 36 is the high. Overnight high is 40, so 154.40. Okay, that is resistance, and that's actually going to be key resistance. Okay. Now, if you're bullish the cable, I don't know what all this junk is. Let's get rid of it. Okay. If you're bullish the cable, this is probably where you're going to give up, where you're going to go, okay, fine, this is not working out. If you got long down here, you got long on the breakout. We bricked below 153.71. The traders are just going to give up. They're going to say, all right, forget it. I'm out. Okay. That's 153, whatever the high is here, 73. So let's call it 153.70. So as long as we are above that, the bulls are in charge right now. But if we break back below 153.70, you're probably gonna get some give back. You'll get some pound bulls that just hit the bid, I'm assuming. Okay, let's go with the running assumption that Greece is fixed. If it is, the dollar Swiss, although we hit a brief new low, okay, you can see this channel that we had drawn from yesterday, and notice support's holding. We hit a brief new low here. What if the dollar starts bouncing from here? Look at that dollar Swiss. That's some pretty solid support. I mean, 92.50 is not too far below. The spike low is at 92.75. How about if the dollar starts to bounce here? This might not be a bad place to be on the long side of the Swissy, with the running assumption that things are gonna get better in Greece. Now, I I think that running assumption though is it's a little early to have that assumption, especially with Greek headlines seem to be plaguing the market this time of the day. It's late in the day in Europe. After meetings after meetings after meetings, headlines tend to hit the wires. And I'm looking for a reason to actually buy the dollar Swiss and buy the euro Swiss. I'm actually looking for reasons too. And, reasons to do that would have to be with obviously with Greece, with the situation, at least in the near term, being handled. But I'm not long the dollar Swiss. I'm not long the euro Swiss right now. I'm just, like I said, I'm looking for reasons to do so. I think we have support here. It's obviously pretty strong support. 90, actually, how about 92.50, 50, and 92.75. Okay, because you have 92.75 right here, and then 92.54, which is the 618. Those are both good levels of support and resistance for the Swissy. I mean, we're facing some resistance right as we speak, but right there. But we'll have to take the spike high from overnight. This is 93.70. Okay. All right, let's go over to the yen. So the yen, well, still holding above 124, and that resistance right there, significant. Support obviously is becoming more significant. So this is quite easy. Resistance at 124.50. Support at 123.70. 70. Okay. 123.70. 124.50. It's still bullish until proven otherwise. Okay. And let's go over to the dollar Canadian. So we have the IV PMI that's coming out now. Let's get rid of this stuff. I'm going to get rid of that stuff for now. It's a tough read on the dollar Canadian. Okay, first and foremost, this yellow trend line resistance, that's very important. Yeah, so while we're below right now 125.40, well, we'll just call it 125, whatever this high is. While we're below there, I mean, we're capped. It's if we break if we break 125.60, the bulls are going to really take charge here in the Canadian, I suspect. Okay, because you got a lot of people. Actually, one of the Europeans I was talking to yesterday, matter of fact, said the question was, Blake, what do you feel about the Canadian? I'm like, yeah, well, we broke we broke an upward channel yesterday. Well, this was yesterday when I said it, but I said we broke the channel, 2 days ago. So I said yesterday, but it was 2 days ago now. We broke that upward channel, and that European said, yeah, well, it turned bearish on me a couple of days ago. I'm like, okay, get it. I got it. So right now, as long as we're below that yellow trend line, you got to be very skeptical about further upside. However, if we break higher, okay, if we break higher for some reason, not necessarily right at this very moment in time, but if we break higher, in the next couple of days, that's going to squeeze the hell out of the Canadian, because I think a lot of people are trying to fade this move here. After having this really nice move from 119 to 125, that you got a lot of traders trying to short it. So for today, I mean, I don't even know where support is right now. It's kind of an unreadable chart. It's tough. It's a tough one to read. 124.20 maybe, and 125, and that's not even really great support or resistance. This is definitely not good support and resistance right now. It's very messy. The dollar Canadian intraday, I mean, look at it. Well, I mean, look at the price action here. Look at these spiky moves higher, spiky moves lower. We came out of this. It really, that this red line here, that's important. If we get all the way down there, and it's some distance away. I mean, we have to really get below 123.70 to turn bearish. Yeah, and then get back above 125.60 to really turn bullish. It's just really choppy and very ugly price action in here. Okay. Kiwi. So here's the New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar hasn't done much of anything. So what we are holding Yesterday we wrote down support at 71.10, didn't we? Overnight we went as low as 71.14 because it's an upward sloping trend line. So 71.10 would have been if we would have caught that trend line out as it was there. But now we're here. So 71.15 is actually important support today. 71.15. '71. Let's call 70. And 71.70 is a big deal anyway, as you all know. We're still bearish. We're still in a very bearish trend in the Kiwi. Okay. All we're doing is we're consolidating inside of this bearish trend, and you can see the consolidation's getting real tight. All right, let's go over to the Aussie. So the Aussie, the trade bounce and the these are some big rejections yesterday, and you know, I think it was Wit in the chat room, or I'm pretty sure it was Wit. It was somebody in the chat. No, it was Sanjeev in the chat room actually 2 days ago when we were at 78. It was after the RBA, and said, should I be short in the Aussie here? And I'm like, man, I don't know. With that RBA, with the rate decision, it looks like the RBA has gone to more of a neutral stance. I'd be really careful. Obviously, the trade balance numbers and the retail sales numbers came in atrocious last night, and so you can see we rejected a big confluence. There's the 618 retracement of this move, 38% retracement of this move, and so those fib levels were really important, and they held. So so you have to imagine, I guess traders are probably going to, anybody who's long the Aussie is probably going to be really happy to get out if we get anywhere close to 78 cents again. Because if you're stuck on the long side from earlier this week, you're probably just, oh, thank God we're back at 78. But, we're up against resistance right now. So, and you can see here's support. Pretty easy to, actually, it's pretty easy to see. So, 77 cents. I'll write down 78 cents just because, this might be lower highs. See that? So 78 cents and 77 cents, but we happen to be mid-range. So if you get an opportunity to sell it up here, probably not a bad, that wouldn't be a bad pop shot at the Aussie. 78. And then 0.77, it's going to be support. And we're ranging.
Hey,
okay.
Blaker.
Yeah, Kip.
Just a heads up, you are breaking up a little bit. Wasn't sure if it was on my end, and then a couple of people started messaging. So I don't. It may be just related to the internet issue you had earlier.
That could be it. That could be it. Mirko said audio is fine here, and they're in Europe. So in there, we have different internet points throughout the United States too. So it might be kind of where you're at. But yeah, I did have internet issues this morning, and Tom said it's breaking up here in North Carolina. So Kevin says it is here too.
All right, might just be one of the main service providers here in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right, thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. And guys, I'm going to put you on hold anyway, and when I come back, we're going to do the dollar index. So I'll be back in a few moments. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to shut down just a couple of things just to see if that'll help. Doug says I'm breaking up a little bit here in the UK. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Lunch Money webinar, or the morning edge webinar. Holy crap. Hey, just so you guys know this, okay. Now I don't know if I've told you this before. We have um, coyotes here. Have I ever told you that? We have coyotes, and what they do is they actually can jump um, our we have block walls like cinder block walls, and I live in a ranch style home, so I've got a pretty big piece of land, so you can't see my backyard. It is dark. I mean, it is like you can walk out there. It's a big piece of land, and you can't. And I'm in the middle of Scottsdale, but there's still there's coyotes, and they jump right over your fence. I mean, these fences are 8 feet tall, and they just jump right over them. Okay. Bob says we have coyotes too, pack animals tough as nails. Yeah, and they live not too far away from where we're at, um, in some open brush. And I know we're in downtown, or basically in the heart of Scottsdale, Arizona, and you would not think that there'd be coyotes here, but there are. And so I had just fallen asleep, and my wife last night, she got me up, and she's like, I think there's a coyote in our backyard. Can you go get it? And I'm like, oh, you had to wake me up. I was just had fallen asleep. I got up and chased it out of the yard. I didn't see it, but whatever it was, I chased it out of there. And then I tried to go back to sleep, but unfortunately, I didn't. I didn't. It took me a couple hours to get to sleep. So if I say funny things like, "Welcome to the Lunch Money webinar," that's exactly the reason why. That would be the reason why. Okay. And Alan says they can't play hockey worth a damn. Not those coyotes, you jerk. Al says, yes, you have a zoo there in your backyard and then some scorpions as well. Yes, I do. It's quite the Wild West where I live. Okay, we have the dollar index. I got to finish up with the dollar index, so let's do that. Just give me a few seconds to to finish up here. Okay, so here's the dollar index, and again, I'm going to point out that we have support here at the 618. Let's get rid of this because this line's, oops. Let me delete that for a second. I'll redraw. We don't need this line. That's irrelevant. This line is going to be relevant, and so that's relevant for today. And then let's go back and redraw the fib here in the dollar index from high to low. You can see we're at the 618. So, and we are finding support. Obviously, the euro dollar is rolling over here, and my euro yen's almost back into positive. I mean, so the euro is actually starting to show some weakness here. But and look at how oversold we are on relative strength. I mean, we're at 25 on the 4-hour chart. We haven't been this oversold in a while. So, are we due for a bounce, or could we bounce here? I think the risks of a bounce at current levels are quite high. Does that mean that it's this downtrend in the dollar is over? No, not necessarily. I mean, if you go look at the daily chart here in the dollar, we're really just, we're bouncing a lot, and consolidating. I mean, let's actually just delete everything for a moment here. If you look at the dollar index itself, okay, we may be doing something like this, kind of like what we were dealing with a little earlier. We may be dealing with something like that in the dollar index, and the bottom line is, I would think that we find some support soon, but we'll see. I mean, obviously, the dollar's had a pretty big sell-off just over the last couple of days, but we are sitting at the 618, which I think is important. And then if you go out to the 4-hour chart, we have support through here. So Today's low is 94.65. That'll be support for today. Okay. And wow, the euro is really just peeling away right now. Hold on really quick. You know, let's go over to an hourly chart here. Rich asks, is it a good buying opportunity for the euro? I think if you get into like towards the 112.50 level, I think it is 112.75. What we wrote down as support, 112.85. Give it a little bit. I mean, take into consideration, Rich, that the euro dollar. Before you start buying up here, think about this for a moment. The euro dollar just over the last couple of days, we've gone from 109 to 114. Okay, like I said, that move caught me off guard. I did not expect that big of a move. Nor do I think anybody did. I mean, you see a, you know, 400 or 500 pip move in a couple of days. You go, wow, that's a pretty big move. There's a lot of times we will move 100 pips, then we might grind up another 50 or 80 pips the following next couple of days. But to get back to back to back 100 pips, 100 pips, 100 pips, or 200 pip movement, 100 pip movement, 100 pip movement, you know, and you can see every move here. Just in case you haven't noticed, every move, the last three moves, 1, 2, 3. You see how they're getting smaller, right? Okay, so if that was the last final thrust in a resistance, we're probably going to come down a little bit. And if you're going to take a pop shot at it, I would probably wait till 112.80. But realistically, a move down to like 11.80 or 11.90 might be a better place to be on the long side. Okay, but every move has come in smaller. Kevin says the euro's divergent. Yeah, and then we got divergent relative strength. I mean, I'd be careful about trying to pick it up too early here. Okay. All right. No, with that being said, let me finish up with the dollar. So we'll have some resistance at 95.20. That's probably resistance for today. Okay. All right. And we're going to be in a range. Let's Now let's take a look at like the peso came right down from resistance. So that was on breakout watch this morning when I first got up, because I looked at it and I'm like, oh man, that thing is heading right into resistance. But we stopped, which we stopped right probably where we should. Because remember, we wrote down resistance as 1560. You can see the 4-hour chart's actually showing a pretty big reversal at this point. Whoa, pretty big reversal at this point. Shooting star, engulfing pattern. So might be an engulfing pattern. So we'll have to see how it closes. But if the euro continues to go down, this will probably just turn into a doji. But because we still have 45 minutes or so 48 minutes or so until this candle closes here. But anyway, 1560 is resistance, 14 or 1545 will be support. We really have to be on breakout watch here. 1560. And we're in a range, but now we're getting close to an upside breakout. Okay, let me take a look at the Nordic currencies really quick. So the U.S. dollar, Norwegian krona, right into the 618 retracement. Hey, we might actually have a head and shoulder pattern here setting up. Mm, head and shoulder, knees and toes, knees and toes. Okay, so if you have a bearish number, you guys can trade this. I can't, but if you can, we have a nice head and shoulder pattern setting up, right? Yes, it is. Perfect. Perfect. Now, obviously, the euro is going to have to start turning higher before we can do anything like this. But let's put 769. Now, we're not going to get all the way up here for resistance, I don't think, up there, but 781 is resistance. Okay. But remember, head and shoulders setting up right now. It's a setup. Swedish krona. It's really choppy, very choppy. The Swedish krona rallied right into resistance. It's fallen. We're just nearing support, but I don't know if there's a whole lot to do there. All right, let me also take a look at the E-mini futures. Sanjeev loves it when I put the S&P futures on the bias chart, which today might actually be important, just like yesterday, because we rejected 2120. So 2120 again, and 2095. So that's your range right now. Yes. 2085, right? 2095, excuse me. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close to breaking out here. I don't think it's going to be today, but might be the might be non-farm payrolls that does the trick. Okay, let me take some of your questions. By the way, just so you know, I have in about 20 minutes from now, I have a special guest coming on for the last 25 minutes of the Morning Edge. I have Steve Vogie from Athens, Greece, economist, my economist buddy in Athens. He's going to be talking about the situation in Greece from a boots on the ground viewpoint. So make sure you guys stick around for the end of this webinar. We will be discussing Greece with Steve, my friend Steve V in Athens. He'll be joining us the last about 25 minutes of the webinar. All right. Okay. Thiago asked.